Welcome to Conversations with Well Life Hub Incorporated. My name is Nkateko Ndala Mahoro, your host for today. And I have with me, and you will figure it out, Ntabeleng Ndala. So yes, 2 and 2 together. By the way, backstory, but there's a lot of backstories, and I think we're gonna have a lot of episodes with just backstories. I think I always do that to you guys. I always tell a story and then I say we'll do it in the other episode, but it just means keep on being tuned in because there's so many conversations and stories. Yes, we are a psychoeducation platform and channel, so main reason why we exist. It is to inform the public on psychological matters that impact day-to-day lives. So, 2020, come lockdown, this is around March. So, Ntabeleng Ndala here has a channel, and please subscribe and follow her, thumbs up, check out her videos. They are so interesting. So let me not give away too much. Yeah. But anyway, so she has a channel and I'm sitting there, I'm missing the classroom, I'm missing teaching. And as you know, I have a lot to say. And I hit her up and I'm like, Denise. And there's also a backstory behind that name. Anywho, I'm thinking of a channel and she's like, let's do it. So since May 2020, Ntabeleng recorded more than, I think, 20 episodes. And lo and behold, she needed to find herself, as you know, the South African landscape, and decided to leave us and go to, no, let me not say leave us because we are leavers as a family anyway. So exactly. What am I talking about? I mean, even now, her one aunt is somewhere in Ghana, I think, and then she's going into Norway but anyway. So she decided to spread her wings in 2022, but I think the process started in 2021. But because of lockdown, it took a bit long.
No, I left in 2021. Oh, yeah. No,
2022,
right,
yes. Yeah, you left February 2022. I remember that very well. February 2022, just after your birthday.
Yes.
But the process started in 2021. And it looked like it was a process that... But anyway, tell the story.
So actually, my journey is... I found out about the opportunity in 2019 at my previous job. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then I started putting in the research. And then 2020, I started my first round of applications. I got through, did the interview. It was, in fact, with EPIC, English program in Korea. That's the first round of the interviews. I did extremely well, passed my interview. Now, like for context, this is a 6-month long process. Like the interview and the placements and everything, and you eventually moving to Korea. It's supposed to be a 6-month process. So I started it in February of 2020. This was before they said
it shut down.
Everything.
And then shutdown happened.
And then it's like, okay, then what must happen?
Yeah.
But then that happened. Then obviously, because I hadn't received a contract by the time that everything shut down, then I had to start the process all over again. This is February of 2020. Cut to August of 2020. Then they said, okay, no, it's fine. You can start applying again. So this would be the intake of the next February. So I said, okay, great. I can do that. And then, unfortunately, I didn't even make it to the interview process. That was horrible. It was horrible because I thought I wasn't good enough. Because it's so rigorous, like the application process in itself is so rigorous that you will start to think, am I even good enough for this job? But then I got over that, changed recruiters. Now, third time around, they changed things at the end. So I applied again. I think I did great in my interview. But because of one question, like a hiccup with one question, then it tanked the whole thing. This is, by the way, the third round, of the application. And then I even started thinking, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I should consider other avenues of going to Korea because I had such a tunnel vision about going. So then I I went through the interview and then they said, no, I didn't make it through the interview. That's when like I hit rock bottom, so to speak. Like, especially with this particular opportunity. I was like, okay, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I should move on. But I couldn't because I had my mindset on it so much. And I was just like,
can we say you just wanted to leave South Africa so much?
Yes. But I actually really wanted to go to Korea much.
Sure.
And I think also with trying to like re-strategize, redirect. Okay, what other countries like affording me this opportunity? China was closed down at that time as well. But there were countries like Taiwan, there were countries like Thailand, and other Asian countries that are offering this opportunity. But in my head, I was like, it's Korea or nothing for now, So then it so happened that, okay, December, after receiving the news that I didn't make it through the interview process, the third time around, then this guy, Musa on Twitter, said, guys, if you have your documents ready, they just opened up in Jeollanam-do in Korea. It's a province in Korea, the south of Korea. They just opened up their talk.
So the south of South Korea.
Yeah, the south of South Korea.
We need to be specific.
Yes. Yeah. They said they opened up their applications for the talk program, which is funny because the talk program was cancelled. It was discontinued due to COVID, but also they just felt like they didn't need to continue the program anymore. But this one province said, nah, we still need teachers. So he said, and you can do it yourself. You don't need to go through a recruiter. Just send in your applications. It's only open for this month of December, but the catch is you'll be leaving in February, like in 2 months' time, which is unheard of because this process takes 6 months. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I have everything. My application is already done. What could it hurt? And I applied and I got in. And I was shocked because I was like, oh, so I'm really going. Interesting. Okay. But that's how it happened.
Sure. And there you were gone. So, and by the way, the person, so you were behind the lens of this when that time it was Monday Rizeni with Pretoria psychologists, and we were only doing the Mondays. Obviously, now we're doing the conversations, and the Monday Rizenis are still there. So you were behind the lens, and now guess what? The person who is behind the lens of this episode will be in Canada very soon. So you guys just love playing around in continents, different continents, and then obviously we're gonna have you back on board. And as already I have announced last month when we started with the new season to say, it's a sizzling season. It's an exciting season. And I think you will even get to be behind the lens of episodes with my sisters, which are your... and I'm sure that is going to be very interesting. Yeah. So you are in South Korea. And psychologically, what happens, and maybe specifically because the continent, it's in the northern hemisphere, so obviously it snows. And I have done on this channel topics of seasonal affective disorder, or actually in the new DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is what we use to diagnose, it is called a affective disorder with a seasonal affect in it, or the seasonal component in it. So it snows, which means, different weather. Yes, you were prepared because obviously you are also a global trotter. It's not like it was the first time of you being away. We have been to Brazil together. We have been to Russia together, and many, many, many countries in Africa together. So you are sort of well-orientated and well-prepared in terms of what to expect.
Yes.
But now, what do you find?
Oh, man. Winter is a different beast in the Northern Hemisphere. If you are only exposed to the Southern Hemisphere, especially considering that Korea is a peninsula as well. So now, it is extremely cold. it is extremely dry, and the sun is there for decoration, if I can be honest.
It's out, but
It's
it doesn't
out,
make a
but
difference in terms of temperature.
Not at all.
Yes,
At home,
Yeah.
when it's cold and you stand out in the sun,
you will
feel the warmth.
But
I tend to make fun of.
That is why the snow is still there while the sun is shining.
Exactly.
That is why, because the temperature, the dial has not changed.
It has not changed. So now, in the beginning, I mean, as an African child experiencing snow for the first time, it's a whimsical experience. It's an amazing. It does not matter how old you are. It will not lose its wonder. Like just that, the understanding of it. You're like, how is this thing making sense? But that goes away very quickly. Firstly, when the snow hardens.
Yes.
Because now you're slipping and sliding on the street. You feel like you're at an ice rink. And it's like, okay.
And you're going to work.
I'm going
running
to work.
After a bus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now then you have to adapt to that. But then the biggest one for me has been dealing with seasonal depression. I did not see it coming. Well, obviously nobody sees it coming because you don't anticipate it, even when you know that this thing is possible. But I didn't see it coming in a sense that I think we were a month in or a month in or 6 weeks in, where I started noticing things that had already been happening, but I was only cognizant of them at the time. It was that I was not eating as much anymore. Like if I was surviving, it was on the fact that I was eating school lunch every day. That was the only meal I was surviving on because I didn't have an appetite. I was sleeping a lot more. Obviously, yes, it's cold. All you want to do is sleep. It's dark for a long time. So all you want to do is sleep. I was isolating myself a lot. I wasn't like touching base with my friends, this, that, and the third. So, and then I realized, oh, no, something is wrong. Something is really, really wrong. And I had to then get in contact with my therapist. And then I explained all of these things. And he's like, oh, no, you're going through an episode of seasonal depression because it's cold and all of these things. And you need some vitamin D. So, some of the things that she told me to do was like, no, force yourself to go outside. Even though it's uncomfortable, it's cold, it's dry. You don't really want to be outside, but force yourself outside of the environment that you are in because then you are like pumping life into yourself a little bit more. But that was one of the things that I had to deal with was seasonal depression, and it lasted a while. Like it lasted longer than I thought it would because even when spring rolled around, I thought, okay, no, I'll come back to myself, I'll feel better. But no, I think we were right slap bang in the middle of summer where I started feeling normal again. I started feeling like myself again, started being outgoing again and like not even forcing myself to do things, but I was doing things out of like just joy, pure joy of doing them. But yeah, no, seasonal depression was hard. It was a hard one to like adapt to, considering that it also was colder for longer than I was exposed to, like that I was used to. Because I mean, here it's cold for 3-4 months at most. It's not also considering that in the afternoons it gets hot. In Korea, it's cold. It's cold.
So in the northern hemisphere in general.
Yeah, it's cold and it's just, it sucks the life out of you. It really does. And I think also with the fact that it's cold over what we consider the festive season, just compounds. Because it's like, at home during this time, I am festive. We are outside. We are praying.
We are swimming.
It's a good time.
Yes.
But here I am, a whole December going to work, coming back home. No, it wasn't fantastic.
Yeah. You're bringing a very interesting reality. Yes, it's not to scare people to be explorative, to be out there, to do. To reimagine themselves or even reinvent themselves as global trotters or what do we call, is it digital migrants? Yes, digital migrants, yes. But I think in essence, what you're saying is your ability to then reach out for help, to be able to recognize that you need help and reach out for help. You already had a therapist, here in South Africa, and it was fortunate that that therapist was available to see you online, which I think if people are watching us from anywhere in the world, with the advent of COVID, we were able to know that you can still have a consultation. Yes, I've been doing it many years before COVID, because I had clients who were overseas and who still preferred to be seen by me. And obviously we need, for example, myself as an individual, I've got indemnity that indemnifies me for cross-border work, which then, you save. But we also need to make sure that even for you, you have enough support on the other side as well. And I think, I know that you, just like me, you're a physical touch person. So how did that also compound that experience? And I'm glad you also mentioned those markers, the isolation, the eating, the sleeping more, because those are classic symptoms of depression. Yes, you might mistaken them for, it's winter, I need to cozy up or cuddle up. But if it is also maybe debilitating you in doing other things. But let's talk about the power of touch.
Yeah, that's also something that I did not see coming. But I mean, these are the things that happen when you experience new things. Now, with physical touch, one thing I really experienced was being touch deprived. It was such a weird phenomenon for me, because I was like, what is going on? You want to be held, you want to be hugged, like you can take for granted that, that pat on your back, that shoulder squeeze, that hug, and you're just like, it hits you like out of nowhere, where you're just like, I actually just want to be held. Like, I just want to be held. And that is why it's so funny whenever I see these memes where people are saying, I just want to be held, even if it's accountable. Just like, I really just...
That's a fun one.
I just want to be held.
So any kind of holding.
No, just hold me. And it doesn't even have to be in a salacious way. Like, just that reassurance that I care about you. Because that's the thing with living as an expat, living abroad, is that even when you make these connections, even when you make these friendships, and you basically form a community, which I am really passionate about, is that anywhere in the world, find yourself forming community, because
a community of believers, a community of maybe readers,
definitely just find yourself cultivating community, because they would it will help and enhance your experience, right? So even with the community that you have, because you are living in such different areas, you find yourself isolated a lot of the time. And it's not by design. You just find yourself on your own. And it's funny, because I'm an introvert. I love my own space. I love being by myself. I love my own company. But it showed me a different level of isolation, where I'm just like, oh, no, that's not what I meant. Like, where you find yourself really desiring to just get a hug, out of the blue. And even with the times that you see your friends or you see your community and you hug each other, it's not like you can bottle that feeling and, just refer to it when you need a hug, because it's like, no, I need it now. I want it now. So and it's actually one of the reasons where I said that the next time I move abroad, I'm not doing it alone. Nope, I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not doing it alone.
Like,
I need a partner to go with.
Are you coming? And then we're all like, are you coming just for a break? And then you're like, for good, just like testing the word. No, you need to. Yeah, but anyway. But
what I said was,
I hear
for now, for good.
Yeah.
For now.
For now, for good.
For now, for good.
And then something else happened.
And
which then, I think time is very jealous. Time is very jealous, but actually maybe that can be a good way to conclude this conversation, because you are talking about being alone. It was not necessarily at that level that you wanted it, because of then not being with someone. but the spin-off was that you had your own place, the freedom, the independence, the testing yourself.
That was a great experience. I think I grew a lot from that experience, and I would not take anything away from that. Like personally, spiritually, mentally, discipline-wise as well. Like that is a great experience, and I would highly recommend it. Where I think also what it helped is for me to redefine me for me outside influences. Also considering how tight-knit my family is and how close we are
and do stuff together.
And the influence as well. I needed to know that I could stand on my own and stand on the principles that I've been taught, the value system, the virtue. And I realized, oh no, these people did a great job because I didn't veer too far from who I am. Like I just grew in terms of the responsibility, in terms of really standing on my own and standing true to what I've been taught. But really, it was a great experience. And yeah, like I wouldn't take anything from it. I'm still very much independent. I'm still very much the responsible person.
The responsible person. I think I'm inviting you for an episode about the responsible person, please. This responsible person. I think we need to debrief on the responsible person.
No, definitely.
Can you join me in the next episode for us to unpack that? But more than anything, I think as you are giving the viewers, the listeners, that whole thing of taking pride in testing yourself. It was 2 months ago when I did an episode with Sharon, and we were talking about the gap year. Because a lot of people think that because it's school and then college and then work and then family and then house and then cars, it's very linear. And I think that's a very dull life. Sharon did it mid-career, she qualified, worked, went away. You did the same because you qualified, you worked, you are a graphic designer by profession. By the way, all the graphics that you see prior to us changing, this is Ntavi. She was also behind the actualizing the vision. So, but you were able to also take that, and that is where I take pride in terms of for you to be able to do it and not be afraid, because I think, and maybe it's also a fortunate thing, your generation is not as, not too attached to things. And I think I appreciate that. I admire that. And I'm hoping our generation can also take from that, because what then ends up happening is because you identify yourself with things, when what hits the fan and the things cannot be there anymore, it's almost like life is over, where you can so reinvent yourself in so many ways. I mean, I see it in my own life. Even now, it's a reinvention. So what do you want to say as, somebody who's listening? Maybe they are in South Korea, they are in Thailand, they are in Canada. Our videographer listening in and encouraging himself when that snow is this thick and it's minus 11 degrees, just like it is in the Alps there. But something for them, the expats, I know you have friends who are in Germany, and in taking care of their mental health.
Okay. So it's important to be present for yourself first. Be present in what you're feeling. Be present in how to navigate that as well. But also, it's important to touch base. Always, always, always touch base. Because sometimes it's not even that you are deep in the gutter. It's just that you need human interaction. And that's something I had to be very conscious about and proactive with. Like, I know I'm one of those people that will be like, no, I don't have to talk to my friends every day in order for them to know that I love them. Sometimes it's for you. Like touching base with your friends, touching base with your loved ones, touching base with the community that is close to you. Yes, I mean, you can talk to your family at home all the time and all of those things. But the closeness is what's important. And in cultivating that culture of just being present where you are and acknowledging when you're not okay, so that you can give them also an opportunity to show up for you. I think that for me had been the biggest difference in terms, like, just outside of the professional help, that giving the people around me the opportunity to show up for me in the way that I needed them to, and communicating that was really like the turning point in terms of making my experience of living in Korea that much more beautiful.
Sure.
Yeah.
And even that one I'm noting as letting people show up for you. I'm making a note, and you know I am making a note. With that, thank you so much for joining us in this episode, and I'm hoping that you can enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed it, having a conversation with Ntabeleng Ndala. And we will see you in the next episode.